Okay, so we want to explain today on how the investment returns under safe agreement. How it is clearly a new thing for Nigerians. Actually, it is not new, but at the same time, I want to say it is new for Nigerians, and I want to applaud Nigerians for the first time who are seeing hearing and seeing something new, and then they're trying to kind of like put a trial to it. So today's is about understanding your investment returns. As you can see, we say it's a clear guide to the safe agreement. Our company is valued at a valuation of a $1 million, and how one page solution through EWPS plans to grow your money. Now, the first, what is safe? Safe agreement for future equity. So a safe provides a legal right to receive shares in the future rather than immediate equity. You're going to receive shares in the future rather than immediate equity. It's a mechanism to invest, and then in the future you are going to convert, later. Safe is a global standard. It's a global standard. This agreement, is an industry standard for early stage startups. So people who are in the finance industry, they understand when they see these things. They have a grasp. They understand. For those who are not in the finance industry, you can also meet your finance colleague. At the same time, share our campaign link to your finance colleague. We are appealing, we are begging, we really need investors because we really want to scale, and we really want to prove that Africa is the next go-to in the continent. Now, if you're ever familiar with the startup arena, you know who the Y Combinators are, the biggest VCs, and then and this was famously the safe agreement was famously used by the Y Combinator, and then so also now what when do I get my shares? And that's the next question. Now, after your initial investment, One Pay Solutions will deploy those funds. We're going to use it to, do all we need to do to ensure that we scale the company, which is improving on our app, expansion of operations. Expansion of operation has to do with, partnering with more vendors, an e-commerce site, what's it called? Online guys there are people who does different platforms that has to do with use and republish. These are the things that we will actually be doing at decluttering business. Those that are into decluttering business, they also you know everybody, GG, Konga, all these sites, the e-commerce, we just want to expand, from Lagos to Benin to Port Harcourt. It's a gradual step. It's a lot of money and time involved, but we're going to be using these funds to increase, and then the conversion. When is the conversion going to happen? Your safe agreement will convert into actual equity shares during a qualified funding round. So we are very sure that if we are able to expand our horizon, our operations and services, by God's grace, we'll qualify for a funding round, and then a VC sees us and then is interested, and of course he invests in us. So when the VC invests in us, they say the power of the 1 million cap. Now this is where the interesting part comes in for you, the investor. Even if the company is valued at $5 million later, the 1 million cap ensures that you buy shares if it's only worth $1 million. You get 5 times more shares for the same money compared to late investors. So you being an early investor, so at a 5 million evaluation at that time, right now we are doing 1 million evaluation, because that's the value now. But the moment you bring in money to us, you invest in us as an early investor, we expand our operations, we get successful, the short thing is that the evaluation cap, goes up. Do you get? It goes up, So and depending on how we deliver, it goes significantly up, like higher than we can imagine. So when the evaluation caps goes up, uh, at let's say 5 million later, the good thing about it is that you as an investor will still be investing at a cap of $1 million, which means it's a 5 times more shares, a 5x. So there's also a note. It said the valuation cap is a powerful investor protection. It protects you because we've already put in a cap. So it's like we are even the one shooting ourselves in the leg, because at the end of the day, the company is valued more than what it is now. But we can't say we are shooting ourselves in the leg because at the same time, without your funds, we could not be valued more than that. So we we are working in hand in hand. So how do I get paid? So you can get paid through when we are through acquisition, when the company is a larger company buys our own company, through an IPO when we go IPO, I which is NGX, which is Nigerian Stock Exchange, or throughout timeline, startup investment and long-term plays. The typical time frame for this liquidity event acquisition IPO is generally 5 to 10 years. So for startup, it is usually faster than that, but at the same time, this is just the standard 5 to 10 years, but it's usually faster than that. Sometimes between two, and examples. We have examples there. If you look at Money Point, if you look at Paystack, Child Deck, and the likes, So why invest the minimum of $25? So high growth potential. This minimum secures maximum percentage ownership at lowest possible valuation. Your early investments, is very key to our own growth. And that's why we have that low entry barrier, very small. Uh, you gain the same legal protection, upside potential as major. I mean, what we just want is that in Nigeria, for example, I can just say lose money. We want you to lose money or money you can squeeze out of your pocket, and that's why we have the minimum of $25, so that it doesn't, you don't overburden yourself to invest in us. Do you understand? And we're doing a recap. So why we can't give you a percentage now is because we are selling our future equity. Do you get? The exact percentage of the company you own is based on the company valuation at the time of the next large rounding. That is when a VC, invests. So since that valuation hasn't happened yet, the percentage is not fixed, but we've capped you at $1 million dollar. So we can provide a concrete number of shares you are guaranteed to receive when the SAFE converts. So when we are ready to now to convert, which will be carried along, from time to time. Once you've invested, you'll be carried along from time to time. You know the progress. You'll be the first to know, our next steps. All those things will be carried along. So we did an example, an illustration. So if we assume a standard fully diluted shares count for a company at this stage, e.g., 10 million shares, okay? The cap guarantees that your price per share will be based on the 1 million valuation cap. So your seed funds of so when we're able to when the share is broken down to 10 million shares, for example, and then per share is going to be $0.10, right? And what we received is your $25 investment minimum. Then your shares will be converted to 250 shares. 250 shares. And this is going to be fixed. It's going to be a fixed cap. It's going to be a fixed cap. The advantage of the real return is that the key benefit of the SAFE is that you are guaranteed to get that 250 shares at the lowest price of $0.10 instead of the okay, it's $0.10. Okay, so in 18 months, when a VC comes, that's in like when a VC comes and they invest $5 million, for example, the total number of shares goes up from 10 million to it goes up, and then when it goes up, the VC space per share face is $0.50 per share, and then you, the early investor, you are going to be paying $0.10. I don't know, maybe you get what I'm saying. These VCs are bringing, you know, they are buying us. I mean, they are investing us in a bigger way. They are paying more, but you are paying less because you are one of our earliest investors. So that means you get 5 times the number of shares. You know, so when the company is eventually sold, your stake, your 250 shares or more, if if you invest more, is bought out by acquiring company and delivers your return. So when the company is eventually sold, uh, we can't say we want to sell. We're not saying we are selling. We could IPO, we could sell, we could, you could eventually hold on to your shares and do the needful in the future. So, but in the future, when we eventually do any of those things, when any of those things happens, um, of course, that's when the dividends come in for you. That's when you get the real return. That's when, so for example, your 250 shares will be in times five, and you get